Thank you so much for asking me to participate in this. I tried several things that failed. My first idea was actually that I would write nothing, that I would just steal everything from Williams. But somehow that didn't work out. And then I was going to talk about teaching Williams. I'm so glad that Michelle's doing that. Now I'm really glad that I'm not. But Williams is somebody I teach a lot, and I tend to teach Williams' shorter poems in like intro poetry classes. And so I don't read Williams for pleasure very much anymore. And when I was asked to do this, my initial reaction was, this is so great because I'll read Williams for pleasure. So I'm actually going to read a poem which strikes me now as being incredibly self-indulgent, so I apologize. And then a few of the poems that I stole a lot from by Williams. And the last section of this poem is all lines from Williams' poems about flowers, and I feel like I should just give him credit for that right off the bat. This poem is called Liminal, and I took as an epigraph, actually, this sentence from Alice Notley's Dr. Williams Erisis. Well, I was pregnant at the time, and he delivered babies. Honest work, that makes me feel verbatim. The widow says, sorrow is my own yard. I don't have to look it up. It is one of the poems I've accidentally memorized, and when he was in the hospital, I could recite it to him. Honest work, the same bones, only compressed. Apologies for the delay, someone left a package on the train. The Army Experience Center at Franklin Mills Mall includes 3 mission simulators, a cafe and lounge. All your recyclables in one bin. Ring in the frost upon them. Freedom from fire. In fact, people are not particularly kind to pregnant women. I have never been offered a seat on the subway. On flight 2573 PHL to FAL, everyone looks away as I stow my bag overhead. It is hard to fly to Fort Lauderdale in grief. Everyone else is on vacation, my own yard. The grass is long, October 10th. It was so much empty air to fill with ocean. It resists singularity and seasonality. It arrives just in time. It sets time. It counts down to itself. It manufactures its own importance. It is very important and makes everyone happy. It is never arriving, even as it arrives. I listen hard when the bells. Early for an appointment, I sat in Independence Mall to be in the official weather. Ring down the leaves. Please stop saying important things in code. A bronzed boy rings in the sea. A child, a boy, bouncing a ball, a blue ball. I listen hard. Ring out the grackle. How odd to find you here, Vidua bird. A green glass insulator, its substance. The real physical matter of which a person or thing consists and has a tangible, solid presence. The quality of having a solid basis in reality or fact. The quality of being dependable or stable. Not yet rain. In fact, it is very bright, honest work. One walks outside and finds that it is very bright indeed. Ring for the children of my friend who no longer hears them ring. In that area of the city that flashes time and temperature and time and temperature, and Pico wishes you a good evening, withheld upon advice of my attorney. Honest work, a busy kind of diction, lemming out a green glass insulator. Make these calculations more complicated. Ring in the new baby, open well its eyes. Contraction rings under the skin, gravity 2, power 1, for the moment. I listen hard. A boy bouncing a ball, catches it with his left hand. A boy waving a lettuce leaf, wild before the vegetables. He falls asleep with a hard roll in his left hand. He eats a freshly fallen orange autumn leaf before anyone can stop him. You're doing good work there. He who has kissed a leaf need look no further. In galoshes and yellow slicker, he wants to be down the beach in a hurricane. That makes me feel verbatim. I listen hard when the bells. It was so much empty, out of seasonality. It counts down to itself, coiled wires and round ligaments, rings under the skin. Could have recited, but didn't. Sublingual, that means we can't talk about it. And honest work, it's easy to disappear completely into it. Masses of flowers. In lieu of flowers, please, masses of flowers. flat worsted flowers, a cluster of bird's breast flowers on a red stem 6 feet high, a bunch of violets clutched out of complicated mathematics among the daffodils. Daffodil time is past, hyacinth time in the hospital garden, a flower or two picked from mud, a pink petal intact upon the ground. I said petals from an apple tree. The stiff curl of wild carrot leaf, fists of flowers where the salvias, hard carmine, slender crimson moon-shaped. The effect against this winter where they stand is crimson, with excellent precision the tulip bed, among the zinnias and verbenas, fragile among the red trumpeted petunias, red where in whirls the white daisy is not enough. One trumpeted wild carrot taking the field by force, a mustard flower and not a mustard flower, yellow, 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 it is not a color, the last yarrow on the gutter, a pair of prickly blue flowerets, the red flowerets curled back. Forsythia, a blonde, straight-legged girl, a bunch of garden roses she was keeping on ice. It's funny, after reading the Notley essay and then hearing Sarah's and thinking about this genealogy thing, when I was in high school, I thought that you had to join a team, and so I thought that I joined Elliot's team. And then later I found out that I was actually on Williams's team. And it wasn't actually till I got to graduate school that I found out that Stein had a team. But I might still be a little bit on Williams's team. So these are just a couple of poems. As I said, I was reading Williams for pleasure for the first time, and I don't know how long. And these were poems I didn't know. And so they're quite short, and I hope that you'll indulge me further. This poem is called My Love, which out loud doesn't capture the kitschy greatness that love is L-U-V. My love. My love is like a green glass insulator on a blue sky. This is from The Descent of Winter, 10:10. Monday, the canna flaunts its crimson head, crimson lying folded crisply down upon the invisible, darkly crimson heart of this poor yard. The grass is long, October 10th, 1927. 2. A child, a boy, bouncing a ball, a blue ball. He bounces it, a toy racket in his hand, and runs and catches it with his left hand, 6 floors straight down, which is the old backyard. The Catholic bells. Though I'm no Catholic, I listen hard when the bells in their yellow brick tower of their new church ring down the leaves, ring in the frost upon them, and the death of the flowers, ring out the grackle toward the south. The sky darkened by them, ring in the new baby of Mr. and Mrs. Krantz, which cannot for the fat of its cheeks open well its eyes. Ring out the parrot under its hood, jealous of the child. Ring in Sunday morning and old age, which adds as it takes away. Let them ring, only ring, over the oil painting of a young priest on the church wall advertising last week's novena to St. Anthony. Ring for the lame young man in black with gaunt cheeks and wearing a derby hat who is hurrying to 11 o'clock mass, the grapes still hanging to the vines along the nearby Concordia Hall like broken teeth in the head of an old man. Let them ring for the eyes and ring for the hands and ring for the children of my friend who no longer hears them ring, but with a smile and in a low voice speaks of the decisions of her daughter and the proposals and betrayals of her husband's friends. O bells, ring for the ringing, the beginning and the end of the ringing. Ring, 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 Catholic bells. And lastly, actually, when pregnant, I tend to avoid poems about pregnancy and birth. But with Williams, that was totally impossible. So, lastly, the birth. A 40-year-old para 10, Nevada, she doesn't know, uncomplaining, in a small room where we had been working all night long, dozing off by 10 or 15-minute intervals. I watched her pendulous belly marked by contraction rings under the skin. No progress. It was restfully quiet on Guinea Hill approaching dawn in those days. What's the matter, Doc? It no wanna come? That finally roused me. I got me a strong sheet, wrapped it tight around her belly. When the pains came again, the direction was changed, not against her own backbone, but downward toward the exit. It began to move, stupid not to have thought of that earlier. Finally, without a cry out of her more than a low animal grunting, the head emerged up to the neck. It took its own time rotating. I thought of a lewd joke about a child suspended thus upside down by the neck, as we are most of us at that moment of our careers. After a time, I was able to extract the shoulders, one at a time, a tight fit Madonna, 13.5 pounds. Not a man among us, at least, can have equaled that. Thank you all very much.